Right, so let's quickly look at what is called this data validation. And in Excel, um, Excel, when we talk about data validation, we are kind of looking at how to control users on what they should enter in Excel or what they can enter in Excel. So it allows you to detect some specific rules. It also allows users to display kind of a custom message if users try to enter an invalid data, right? Let's say, for example, that this is a cell. This is what we are going to be using for this lesson. Now, looking at this, we have this has already been applied, right? When you are working with data validation, you have to apply it to a selected cell or some selected cells. And for example, this cells has already been applied. And now what happens is that we have here the maximum number is going to be 10. So from 0 to 10, any number that is greater than 10, you would get a response, an invalid message response. Right, so let's try that. Let's say we are using 11 here. We say this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. All right, so we've applied data validation for this. And once you cancel that, it goes back to the default value that was here. Now you can change to 4, or let's say get back to 7. All right, 7 here. Now, looking at this, we've applied data validation to here. And as we've said, is a technique which is used to restrict users' input in a worksheet. So if you apply a data validation to this sheet or a selected cell, every other cell or worksheet in that Excel workbook will not have those restrictions, right? And it's often used to limit user entry. And so basically what you are going to be doing now is to quickly go into applying this data validation to the next column here, which we have score here. And then we would want to make the maximum value to be 90. We can pause the video, and then there's no point pausing the video because we've not really seen how to work on that. But if you're a good student, I believe you can make some research and then you begin to work on these things, because we've already covered how to use some tools in Microsoft Excel. And so what you have to do here, let's apply it to this cell. And then once you apply it to a cell, we have to drag to the whole cell. Now it's either you select this whole cell and then you apply to this, or you apply to one. Thereafter, you click here, right? Double click here to reach the last cell. Okay. To reach the last cell. So let's do that here. Tap on the cell and then go to data tab. In the data tab, click on data validation and then go to data validation. Under data validation, we have settings here, and we would want to choose here. We want to make it a whole number. All right, so let's pick whole numbers that are between minimum of 0 and maximum of 90. All right, then we have other ones here, such as not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, and so on and so forth. Now for the minimum, we are going to make the minimum here to be 0. For the maximum, we make the maximum to be 90. All right, and so what you have to just click on. Now you can also custom put an, let's say, an input message here, and then we can also customize the error alert that we get, but let's leave it at default and then we save this. Right, now once we save this, let's drag this to the end of this. So what happens is that once you put a value like 67, nothing happens. Once you put 90, there is no error here. So let's say 98. So it says this value doesn't match the data, blah blah blah. So click on, if you click retry, to come the same thing. So click on cancel here. Now we saw the general or the default message that we got by, let's just type 98. This value doesn't match this thing. So let's cancel this and then let's go to the whole cells again. Go to data validation. All right, data validation, and then go to the error alert. So you can type a message here, value, let's say value must be between 0 and 90. Okay. can give it a title, let's say error, then click OK. Now let's say you type 98 again. So we have here value must be between 0 and 90. All right, so this is a custom message you give to it whenever a user violates the validation given to that particular cell. So let's click on cancel. And now let's go back to the validation one more time. Let's go back here. Then it says here what happens. What is the style you want to give? Do you want to stop the cell from running, or you want to just give it as a warning, or you want to put it across as an information? But most times you usually leave it as a stop. All right, can give you error message. Error message. All right, click OK. Now let's fill this data 60, 34, 6, 7. Let's say 0, 8, 7. Now, having looked at that, we also have what is called the list, because if you happen to go here, go to data validation, there's another option here under the settings that says list. All right, let's say we want to include a particular cell where users can select products from. For example, if you go onto an e-commerce platform and then you are selecting a quantity of an item, or let's say we are preparing a spreadsheet and then you have to select the grade of students in a department. Okay, and normally usually have from A. That was why we gave this sample or dummy data here, A to E. Okay, now let's say we want to, or let's say JS1 A B C D E or whatsoever. Now we want to populate this so that a user cannot select any value above this E, maybe F or G or HI. Right, this is a limit we are giving to a user using this spreadsheet. Now all you have to do, just make sure you select the cell, go to data validation here, and then go to list. Now it says where is a source that we are using. So for the source, this is a source we are going to be working with, this A, B, C, D, E. So you can type it here, A, B, C, D, E. All right. Or most times you can, as well as, let's say we have, you want to select it from here. If you already have those values in your cell, you can click on this and then you select it, or you can type it and separate it with commas. All right. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So we have them here. So, but before you drag those things to populate the other cells, make sure you don't have anything inside there before you drag it. So from here, you can then select maybe A or B to E. So this is how it works, right? Or let's say you have products that you are selling and then you want a user to select a product, and then let's say each of the products is tied to a particular, you can even apply conditional formattings to this. Don't worry, with time, this is just the basic understanding of data validation. With time, we are going to be looking at some other things, how to build, complex data entries in Microsoft Excel. Now, we also have what is called let's say trying to limit the users from passing a certain number of text. Let's say this is Joy. So we don't want user to type more than, let's say, like these values here. Okay. Don't want the user to pass a certain value here. So you can use, under data validation, you can use what is called the text length. Let's say you want to give the length of a text. Okay, by going here, let's say all right. So a data validation has already been applied to these cells here. Now, what I would like to do is to cancel this. Let's check the data validation that was applied here. That is, we have text length of between 3 and 10. So any text that is less than 3, there's going to be an error, or more than 10, there's also going to be an error. Okay. So, and this is how it works. Let's first clear the whole this, and then let's get back to Joy here and type enter, so we don't have issues with that. So let's apply this text length to this cell. So select and drag, go to validation, go to data entry, under settings, go to text length. You want the text to be between, let's say, 3 and let's say 8 here, and then we have the error message. You can give error message here. Let's say text must be between 3 and 8 for the error message, so the user will know actually where the fault is coming from. And then let's click OK. Now anything less than 3 here, you get this result here. So that's all about data validations. I believe we have more things to talk about, but because we don't want to bore you with complex things, right? There are resources online. So this is a general knowledge of data validation. You can go online to read materials and maybe watch other videos and update yourself on data validation. So thank you so much, and I expect to see you in our next lesson.